Do you believe that men are designed to follow our primal instincts for having as much sex with as many women as possible, or do we have a noble and divine calling for sexual mastery, and that it's better to maybe master our sexual instinct within the boundaries of monogamy?
I'm more I've looked at it from different angles, at this point. And when we last talked, it was several years ago. When was it? 2018 or 19?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I know you've been married for a long time. You're happily married, and sorry, just to correct the statement, I didn't get dragged through the divorce court. I know that sometimes people misunderstand divorce and how it works. You don't necessarily have to go to court, and it's ideal not to if you want to get an ideal outcome and remedy. So everything I did with my ex-wife was settled outside of that through negotiation, back and forth with lawyers, and that takes time. But I'm not a big fan of marriage as an institution because it invites the state into your home, and it allows, and as a libertarian, like as a sovereign man, I don't want the government telling me what I can and can't do. I don't want them telling me what I can and can't do with my wealth, access to my children, any of these things. So it works out for some guys. For many guys, it really doesn't. It's amazing that you and your wife have been together for this long. You've got 4 great children out of the whole deal. And we were talking off air before about how that's going. And I'm stoked for you, brother. Like, I'm very happy for you. But the path that I'm at is at my life, and the stage that I'm at, I've got a kid that I've got to finish raising, obviously. I'm divorced. I'm out the other side, clean. Got a great girlfriend. We've been together for a few years now. She's a wonderful complement to my life. She adds value. She does a lot to improve it. She does a lot to improve my kid's life. She's great with my family. I just don't see the need to invite the state in my life and declare in front of the church or in front of family that I put this ring on her finger and want to be with her forever and ever until kingdom come, because I know how things work. There's a lot of lyrics that you hear tossed around. She's not yours. It's just your turn. Blah, blah, blah sort of thing. And I think that men have a innate need to scatter seed. That's why we can produce millions of sperm per month and women only can produce 1 egg. That's just a reality of the sexes. Men and women are not the same. They're different. You already know that. I think most of your audience already knows and agrees with that. Whether you choose to be monogamous or to be non-monogamous, that's your choice. When you take a look at the evidence and the way that humans have arrived at where we're at today, some choose a spiritual path and they want to declare monogamy and tune into that part of life, and that's cool. And others don't, and that's cool too. As long as you're putting yourself first and you're getting the results out of life that you want and you're not hurting anybody, I don't see anything wrong with either path.
Okay. Yeah, I can totally dig what you're saying there. As far as not hurting anyone else, I'm curious, so we both agree that the sexual revolution, at least I think we agree, has been a scourge upon humanity. A big part of what allowed the sexual revolution to unfold, which has given us a lot of the mess that we have right now, has been the advent of contraception, mainly birth control pills. If we're kind of like wanting to live based on our instinct, right, and do what our primal nature is, what are your thoughts on contraception and it's a means by which we've fallen into this mess?
Yeah, hormonal birth control seems to be the catalyst that has contributed to a lot of the results that we have in society today, decades later now, right? Because before there was a very real problem or risk that if a woman was promiscuous, that she could end up pregnant. And if you end up pregnant and you don't have a provider to protect you and the child, then chances weren't very good for survival. A lot of that's changed now, though. We have the government who's now, big daddy, the head of the household, in many cases. It's, that's why divorce law introduces itself into your life, when you get married or if you have to untie the knot. You don't have a lot of control. You still have responsibility as a man under the rule of the government, but you don't have a lot of authority in your own household when you invite them in. So the advent of hormonal birth control has given women freedom to do as they choose. It's, with the access to safe and effective abortions, as they call it, gives them the ability to terminate pregnancies, even if the hormonal birth control doesn't work or they forget to take it or they're lazy with taking it or whatever it happens to be. But there's not a lot of consequences for bad choices anymore. a lot of things are forgiven. Oh, take this pill if you want to have free sex. Oh, have an abortion if the free sex doesn't work out. Oh, you can't afford the kid that you have. That's fine. The government will, step in and take care of things. Oh, there's a guy that you can extract resources from. Family law will step in and steal from him and alienate him from his own children. So there's a lot of weird things that happen as a consequence of giving women free reign to sleep with as many guys as much as they want in a fairly safe fashion. And that's, in my view, one of the great contributors and failures to society at the same time, why we're here today.
Yeah. Well, what are your thoughts on a male's responsibility to, turn away from that and not participate in it by having, sterile transient sex with, dozens of women who, obviously are sterile?
Yeah.
Do we just, kind of indulge? It's like, hey, it's free sex. Let's just take the bait. Or do we have a responsibility, knowing what we do know, to say no?
It seems like indulge is the path most chosen, at this stage, right? Mm-hmm. It's women have been promiscuous. What are you going to do? Like, one of the things that I've heard critics say is, well, it's men's fault that women are like this today. If women are sluts, then men are slut makers for creating the promiscuity that exists. Because if men didn't indulge with women, then they wouldn't be promiscuous. But I don't think you're going to change a man's nature. He sees a beautiful woman with curves, he's going to want to indulge. I think it's always been that way. Self-control is the new conversation that you're bringing up, where it's like, if you subscribe to a certain belief or an organized religion that prescribes certain behaviors or lifestyle choices, then you're encouraged to follow those. But guys find, well, my biological drive is still to indulge, because why shouldn't I? She's indulging, other guys are indulging, why can't I indulge, sort of thing. Right. So there's a lot of different paths that you can go down it, but to the point of the original question, it seems like most men have chosen to indulge. And when I say most, I'd say the vast majority of the population, including women. So it's like, right, you're not going to turn the clock back and all of a sudden stop indulging in women, because men just won't. And women won't, because they get the free attention. They've had this for decades now. I don't think you can put the genie back in the bottle, if you know what I'm saying, right? Like, this is out now. This is where we're at. How do you now navigate it so that it best serves you?
Yeah, I can definitely see what you're saying. Just playing a thought experiment, right? So, the laws have been designed to hurt men in terms of marriage. I won't argue with that. I can see it. It's very obvious. It's stacked against us. What if there was a proposed law that we could band together and pass that would eliminate birth control? Like, do we have a responsibility to do that as men, to say that if the genie is out, well, we are in control. We do have power, the same way that they got the power to vote and to do all these other things that, kind of screwed us. Could we, if we could, should we do away with it?
Well, the if we could question starts to lean into other areas as well, because you hear guys saying, if we could repeal the 19th Amendment, then women couldn't vote, and we wouldn't end up with bad political choices and wars, and
that's why I said thought experiment.
Yeah, like, you could cook up a whole bunch of ideas that could potentially solve everything. I don't think you're gonna. How can I put this? I don't think that you're gonna find. I mean, if women accepted that you took away the birth control pills, let's just say they did. I don't think that last several decades, what was it, 1960s, 1970s? I mean, it's been 50 years. Let's just call it about 50 years. I don't think the last 50 years of cultural programming, societal programming, are going to make women chaste virgins again. They're not just going to get right with anybody or anything and say, I'm not going to sleep with anybody until marriage now. Right? I don't think that you can do that. I mean, if you slept with 50, if you shared your body, if you've laid with 50, 100 men, you can't all of a sudden declare, well, I'm going to remain chaste until my wedding day.
Right.
Because those 50, 100 men have imprinted on her. They've done things to her. She's carrying baggage around now as a result of that. So I don't see that repairing the problem.
Sure. Yeah, it took 3 generations to get here. At least 3 generations. Right. It might take more to reverse it.
Yeah, I think it's going to keep going in the direction that it's going. I don't think that we're going to turn back the clock and end up closer to where we started back in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. All right.
I really hope you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full-length podcast, you can find that over here, that clip's from. If you're newer to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe over here, and pin down below in the top comment, you'll find a bunch of useful links to my website, my supplement line, books, and a bunch of other stuff. Have an amazing day. Peace out.